Hey, I'm Chris.
And I'm Steph. But
But who
who cares?
cares? Today we're going to be talking about Alice in Borderland Season 2, Episode 2. Just a quick discussion of the episode, kind of our thoughts, our feelings, and where we think the next episode is going to be going. In this episode, we actually get into the game of the King of Clubs, and we kind of get a little bit of a background on the King of Clubs. As you might recall, he's a nudist, and we see that him and his crew, or at least the people that are meeting us at the game station, are all in a band in the well, I guess quote unquote
Real
real
world,
world.
yeah.
The King of Clubs wouldn't like us saying that because he argues that the world that they're in today is more real than the previous world. And his logic for this is, well, how many real conversations did you really have back in the old world in comparison to this world where you're fighting for your life every day and you get to be completely honest and open with people?
Yeah, I'm
Um,
still like a little confused about what it fully he means by all of it. I don't know. Like even throughout the episode, like I'm getting a little bit more of an understanding that it's these are just regular people, but in this new world, they may have some sort of power that they didn't have in the previous world.
mm,
Um, so we're seeing basically there's people who like this world better. Is
yeah.
that's what I'm seeing this season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm still just a little bit confused on the logistics of everything and how these people like how the king of clubs per se is like
Came
the
to
king,
be.
how he came to be. Yeah.
I think we're not supposed to have those answers yet.
Yeah, no.
But to your point, I think essentially all they are is just citizens, just as Arisu is, or to any of the other players or characters that we've seen so far up to this point. I don't think that they're really any different. Maybe they've just embraced the games more, and the game masters came to them and they're like, "Hey, would you like to have a game of your own?" And then they get special perks for having a game of their own. But you're correct. At this point, we really don't know what their MO is, or if they're deeper inside the game, or if they're really just service-based citizens at this point.
Yeah. This game is called Osmosis. And I thought this game was a very interesting game.
Yeah, there's a lot of rules in the game, so I'm very happy that the King of Clubs was courteous enough to kind of show us demonstrations and go
I was
over all the
confused
rules.
at
Oh yeah, I
first.
was very
It took
confused.
them actually play the game to when I fully understood the
Yes.
logistics of the game.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more complex than
It,
some of
it
the other games.
it definitely was.
More rules.
Real quick summary of it. The game is you're split into two teams, the player team and the King of Clubs team, and you want to have more points at the end of, I think it was a 2 hour period. You can get points in three ways. You either touch their team's base, you can battle people by, if you touch them and you have more points, you get to steal some of their points. You could also pair up during battles. So if you have a teammate next to you, you can hold their hand, which it puts your points and their points together, so you have a higher chance of winning. And then the last way of collecting points, there's items scattered all around the arena, which the arena is huge, by the way. And if you find these items, they give you anywhere between 1,000 points to, I think it was like 2,000 or 3,000 points we ended up seeing.
Yeah.
But those are the three main ways, and whoever is leading at the end of the 2 hours wins. Our heroes actually take the lead in the very beginning, but then they quickly lose the lead after the King of Clubs comes up with a strategy to absolutely blitz
Yeah, when
their
that
base.
happened, I was so confused at first. I was like, wait, I don't understand what's happening. Why are they all ganging up on the one guy? What's his name?
Tata.
Tata, yeah. Which we think he
I think Tata
yeah,
is a dealer.
yeah.
I really
But
do.
yeah, I was so confused. I was like, wait, what? But then it made sense once Tata touched the one guy and he died,
Mm-hmm.
and they all their points jacked up for the rest of them, then points jacked up. I was like, oh no.
Yep.
Like it really, I was this one confused me a little bit. I thought that was a pretty cool move
Oh
though.
yeah, seeing them play the game definitely explained it. And I don't think I said this, but if your points do fall below zero, like during a battle or something, you actually die.
Oh
So
yeah,
you
yep.
can't have that happen. If there is a member of the opposing team that stayed back at their base and they're touching their base, their points go to infinite. So if they touch you, you're going to be dead no matter what. Which was crazy when that scene did happen. You're talking about where one of the King of Clubs members ended up dying, but I guess that just shows why the King of Clubs is the King of Clubs, because he's willing to take risks like that, and his team is willing to follow him no matter what.
Yeah, there was actually a scene before that right in the beginning where Arisu and Kuina, they got the first points. They found items, so they were the first scoring of the game, and then right immediately King of Clubs shows right up. And so then there's this conversation between him and Arisu wants to know about the King of Clubs, and he was willing to fight him one-on-one because he just wants to know more about him. And basically we end up finding that they divided their points equally amongst each other because they view each other as equals. And so we're really starting to see the type of person the King of Clubs is.
The one thing that I really did see about the King of Clubs' character is very much as his stances on nudism. I think that's his stance on life as well, where he just wants people to be real and raw and not to have the clothes or the fluff around them, and just to be who they are and to have these very naked conversations with people.
Yeah. Well, honestly, seeing that he was in a band, like right in the beginning, I knew that this episode was going to show a different side of the King of Clubs.
Yeah.
So now I'm starting to get a little confused because I'm like, oh, these people aren't bad people. Like, there's more to this. And so, yeah, it's just now my brain's just like twisting. I'm like, oh my gosh, everything that I thought I knew, I don't know.
With these face card games, they did say that it's going to be citizen versus citizen.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're going against game masters anymore. These games are going to be run against people inside the game against other people inside the game, which I find very interesting. And we don't know how they're getting picked. And this is the King of Club's first time playing this game too.
Yeah.
So now that he's lost a team member, is he not going to be able to run this game anymore? I don't know. It was.
Yeah, now it's
really
like, okay, what happens now if they beat them? Like, then what happens?
Can anyone else
there's
play this game, or is
definitely
it
a
just
lot
gone?
of question marks now.
Yeah, does Arisu and his team take over?
Yeah, there was parts of this episode that I wasn't a fan of too.
Like what?
I towards the end of the episode, they start like giving up because the king, the King of Clubs team gets way ahead, and they don't know what. But they're not like.
They have time on the clock. They have enough time to come up with some strategies. And they do end up executing one of Arisu's strategies before they quote unquote give up fully. But Arisu's strategy is essentially, and I turned to Steph during the episode and I was like, oh, I don't think he's going to reactivate. After battle or after you like touch someone's base, you deactivate, which means that if anyone were to touch you to try battling, they get electrocuted and so do you. And at the very beginning, they say, that the electricity is enough to knock you out, but Arisu ends up not reactivating himself and tackles the King of Clubs. So the King of Clubs zaps himself, and he wasn't expecting Arisu to make this move, but both of them get up like right after it. And then there's a couple of other scenes where other people get electrocuted and they get like right back up after it. And I was like, oh, I thought the whole point of the electrocution was you're supposed to be KO'd. You're supposed to be knocked out.
So I guess it really wasn't that. And then, like I said, towards the end, King of Clubs team pulls ahead by quite a bit. And then they start giving up. And the only ones that weren't really giving up was
Arisu and Usagi.
Yeah. And Usagi was like the she's a boss. The boss in this game, basically, for her team, because she was like, I'm not giving up. And so she just kept going, and she was able to then give them extra points because they found
the last
item. And then that kind of helped Arisu to like kind of remotivate him. And then he starts coming up with more like a plan to kind of, and everyone else though was just kind of like,
crying.
Like, I was really surprised with Kuina.
Kuina's character shocked me there, how quickly she was willing to give up, and they're only down at this point by maybe a 500-point margin, which is equal to one battle. So
and the punk dude,
freaking I'm fine with the punk dude's attitude on it, where he gave up because I think he's gonna die anyway.
I don't know if we can say this word on YouTube.
Yeah, well, that was terrible.
I'm just like, what the
that was freaking awful. So one thing with that punk dude's character, Naragi, is that at the very beginning of this episode, we see him kind of cough up blood because he got horribly burned from what happened at the beach. And then when they execute Arisu's plan, Naragi ends up spitting blood in one of the King of Clubs.
Oh, that was actually pretty cool. Yeah, because we made note that we saw him Yeah, like with the blood. And both of us were like, we made note of this. So then when it happened, we're like, oh, that was fucking sick.
Yep. I wasn't expecting him to like use that.
No, I wasn't either. That scene was really cool.
Yeah, that was a very cool scene. But then like Arisu high-fiving Naragi and being like, good job. I was like, dude, that guy tried to like,
I don't know if we can say this word on YouTube.
that isn't like, I would not be giving him any sort of high fives or no nothing like that. Like
I'd just be trying to work with him to get through the game and then like see
ya. Sayonara.
Yeah, I do not like him.
Yeah,
I don't like him.
No, yeah, he's being awful. I understood him giving up because at this point he thinks he's gonna die anyways.
Yeah.
But outside of that, he's just a really irredeemable character to me. And no matter what he does, I don't think I'm ever gonna forgive him.
And like with the game, we also got like really cool images of Usagi running across like the shipping containers. Those are freaking sick.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my favorite parts of the episode, was watching her like sprinting down them and doing like this like cool leaps over across them. I don't know. I was like, this is sick.
I really enjoyed that too. And
she was so good this episode. I really liked her character.
Yeah, MVP this episode, for real. One thing I really did like about that chase scene was the character that was chasing her, and I'm blanking on his name, but he was a King of Clubs member. They do a great job in Alice in Borderland of making it feel very anime-esque.
Is this an anime?
I think it is. I think it is based off of a manga. Yes, I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
Yeah. Okay. We have no idea. We haven't looked it up. We don't know.
And like the facial expressions and just the way they talk, and like they do a great job in comparison to Western. When we tried doing readaptations, like in the terrible Death Note. Oh my gosh, it was awful. Like
I couldn't even I watched the first 10 minutes and I had to shut off. It was so bad.
Yeah, it was so bad I left a comment saying how bad it was.
Yeah, I did too. I reviewed like on Netflix. I had like a huge like paragraph. That's same. Absolutely same.
But one thing with Alice in Borderlands, they do a great job of towing the line of anime unbelievability and what they can do in the actual like series here.
Yeah.
And one great thing with that, if you do want to see kind of an example of what we're talking about, is that scene with Usagi running across these crates and that guy chasing her. Because it just feels very much like right pulled from the manga.
And she feels like she's like, that's her too. Like it just, I don't know.
She's fast, she can climb, she's capable. It's great.
Yep. I have in my notes, I was like, King of Clubs, put some clothes on. Haha. He was just so nude in this. And obviously they like didn't show him completely, like they would block. Yeah,
they always like
they did really creative imagery to block so you couldn't see his junk and stuff. But like I was just like, there's this one scene where he legitimately looked like the Wii Fit woman. Like he was just like
I'll clip it here.
Yeah, I know the exact scene. Who do you think you are? Like it was super funny.
He's really pushing Arisu, and I don't think he hates Arisu by any means. I think he
I actually think they have a like. I think they both might be like have a respect for each other, not like friends, more respect.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that.
Like I think Arisu, because that's what kind of got Arisu to step up his game. There was like a moment in there where like, you know, they were behind and he even said to Arisu, like, you need to step it up. Like, yeah. And so Arisu, like, that did get under him and he came up with a really good plan. Just sadly, it didn't get fully executed to the way he wanted it to. But, and then that's when they gave up after his really cool plan. Then that's when a lot of them started giving up, which again, it didn't feel like them to me.
It didn't feel like Kuina. Tata, I don't know enough about his character.
Yeah, Tata we think is sus.
With getting into Tata, let's touch about the last piece of this episode here, which is once everyone's kind of given up and gone off on their own, Kuina's kind of crying off in a corner. Naragi runs off and finds Usagi, who had just collected points, and he tries doing bad things to her. Where the scene ends, he ends up knocking her out, and she's calling out for Arisu. But Arisu's back at the main base with Tata, trying to come up with a plan to save their lives. And Arisu goes, you know what? Screw it. And he runs off and he starts going to the other people's base. And then we kind of have a last scene with Tata here where he's sitting there panicking. But I think Tata is going to end up following Arisu to help save them, because even though he is a dealer, I don't think anyone wants to.
I don't think he wants to die, though.
Exactly.
Which dealers die?
Yeah. Because that was that girl that went.
Yeah. That was a dumb question. No, that was a dumb question. I knew that. I knew that. I'm just having a brain fart.
But like they do things to like put themselves in danger. Like Well, I guess like yeah, they're almost kind of like brainwashed to a sense. Where that one dealer like did the reverse grab on the knife.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
So yeah, no, because I don't think he's gonna want to die. So I think he is eventually going
to sabotage.
Yeah, because
other
it shows
people.
that he is like having like some internal issues going on. So I think he's a dealer and he's struggling with being a dealer because I do think he's good too. There's a goodness to him, and so he's like battling back and forth. I think that's what's happening right now. And I do think you're right. I think if in the end he is going to help them get out of this game. And he didn't want to kill them, I don't think.
No, he didn't.
I don't think he wanted. No. I don't think he wanted to kill anyone on the other team too, because I think he low key like didn't, because if he's a dealer and that's the king of clubs is like part of the game, he might not want them to die either. And maybe that's why he was acting kind of weird too, like about touching, because he didn't touch the king of clubs. Everyone's like, why wouldn't you touch the king of clubs?
Yeah, he went for someone else.
And
I feel like you probably could have gotten more than one person, because I just would have touched the pole and like started spinning around the pole as fast as I could. But
even I don't know about that. If you're gonna touch someone, you would think you would touch the king of clubs, and the fact that the fact that he didn't do that is sus. I think there's some weird. I think you're right. I think he's a dealer.
But other than that, we end off with Arisu running off. Usagi's been knocked out. Nagiri's being a total dickhole. Tata is about to go help Arisu, fingers crossed. And Kuina's off somewhere crying. It doesn't look good for our heroes, but they're only down 500 points. It can't be that tough to make up.
That's pretty much the end of this episode. We'll see what happens next episode.
All right.
Tune back in to see what our thoughts are.
I've been Chris.
I've been Steph. And
who cares?
Bye.